Cool. Okay, so welcome everybody to this month's Morpheus Intelligence Update. And today we're going to be dealing with functional conflict. Functional conflict. I find it very interesting. I talk about this topic quite a lot with leaders. And one of the things that I find very, very interesting is how often these said leaders go, no, but there's no such thing. There's no such thing as functional conflict. There's no such thing as positive conflict. All conflict is bad, is the kind of thing I keep hearing. So, I'm going to be going into that a little bit and talking about it, and specifically around the area of leveraging the innovation that is available when we do conflict well, when we do it really, really well. And so, welcome to this month's Intelligence Update. Now, I'm going to try and go through this quite quickly so we've got a bit of a chance for Q&A at the end. So we're going to start with this. What is it? What is functional conflict? And I want for you to imagine a continuum. And on the one side of the continuum, it was like war, rage, okay? And on the other side of the continuum, it was zero conflict, completely nothing, okay? Somewhere in the middle, there is a sweet spot. And that sweet spot is called functional conflict. So functional conflict is about creating an environment where you can, and having the right practices in your teams and your families, wherever it is, to leverage all of the emotions and concerns of all of the participating parties to create win-win solutions. Now, I know there's a lot of jargon I just threw in there, but let me quickly try and break that down again. Basically, there's a sweet spot where don't have zero conflict, but we don't have dysfunctional conflict. In fact, the research calls the zero conflict also dysfunctional conflict. So we're trying to get somewhere in between the two levels of dysfunctional, the zero and the rage or war. And somewhere in the middle, we want to create a space, a safe space where everybody can be heard, all the voices can be heard, where everybody feels that their opinions are being valued, and their concerns specifically are being valued, and I'm going to come back to that point, so that we can have some sort of a win-win environment. That's really what we're looking at here. So I'm going to go into a little bit of a poll, and in this poll, I'm going to this was the slide I was supposed to show. So this is creating that sweet spot, stopping everything and creating the sweet spot. So I am going to go into a poll now. And I'm going to ask your opinion. I'm going to give you one of 5 options to consider. And I'm just going to share a screen here so that you can see this. So here we go. So we're going to use AHA slides again. So any of you who, I'm not sure if you're familiar or not with this, but if you are, you can either just use this QR code to jump into AHA slides, or you can go to ahaslides.com/MIU. Very easy to do this on a phone, probably better than trying to do it on your computer. So ahaslides.com/MIU, Morpheus Intelligence Update. And that's where we're going to be doing today's poll. All right, so anybody, hope everybody's got that. So let's have a look, ahaslides.com/MIU. And here are your options. Which of these are, and I'm going to give you, you can put 2 in, the most true of your teams or relationships? No conflict, not enough conflict, creative positive conflict, a bit too much conflict, rage or war. So you can choose 2 options, and let's get a bit of a poll going here. Oh my goodness, the first 2 that came in was a combination of none and rage or war. Very interesting. Okay, then not enough and creative positive. Anybody else? Okay, so a little bit more on these over here. So okay, so we've got from the extremes. I mean, I'm sure you can see this statistics, but quite from the extremes, we've got where we are talking about the no conflict and the not enough conflict. Sorry, the no conflict and the rage or war, a total of 25% there. The other 75% split between not enough conflict and creative positive conflict. Now, I didn't participate this time around, but I would have also said not enough conflict would be one of mine, and then creative positive conflict would be the other one. Not to say I never go to the other places, but thank you for your inputs. I don't know if anybody else wants to still input. It'll still be open for a moment here, and that is ahaslides.com MIU /MIU. Ryan says, is the only one being honest? Yeah. I guess mine do sometimes go to the rage or war level, hey? Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you, everybody. I'm not seeing any more coming in, so I am going to stop the share. And I will have a look at this. If anybody does want to add another one in, we can come back to it. All right, thank you very much. All right, let's move along. So we've had a quick look at what it is. So why do we need it? Why do we need this functional conflict? And one of the things, and I don't know if this will surprise you or not, but we can now see that functional conflict builds trust. Of course, it also happens in an environment where there is trust. So it plays a bit of an interplay role. They kind of build each other, whereas dysfunctional conflict will break trust, which will then lead to more dysfunctional conflict. And so this idea of we want to have in our teams synergy. We want to have in our teams where we can be optimally leveraging off each other's strengths, that kind of thing. That sort of 1 + 1 is 3 or 1 + 1 is 11, depending on how you want to play with that little phrase. That's going to happen when we have functional conflict. When there is no conflict, you don't get it. And when there's full-on rage or war, you don't get it either. And so you're looking for this kind of sweet spot for functional conflict. And that's why we need it. Secondly, it's a route to maximize teaming and innovation. There's now a whole lot of things that are showing us that at its most innovative, there is conflict. A lot of us sort of think of, an innovative space is this wonderful, peaceful space, and we're all going together. Reality is that there needs to be a bit of to and fro. I don't know how many times, and I think, Bruce, I've seen this with you and I before, where I've come up with an idea, you've come up with a counter idea, and somehow the end result is we have a better idea than either of those two ideas. And that's really what we're looking for. That's where the creativity can be maximized. And then finally, it actually creates a whole new level of problem solving. And you'll understand this better when I get into the how a little bit later on. But we need this because we can solve problems at a much higher level. We can come across, we can find solutions that are multidimensional and yet simple. And so I'm going to talk you through a little bit more about that in a moment. So that is the why we need it. It gives us this ability to get together, to work together for better synergy, trust, problem solving, creativity, innovation. All of that comes out of this kind of teamwork. So, next one is, who's it for? So, who needs to learn to facilitate functional conflict, to create an environment and practices for functional conflict? And so here what we're looking at is we're looking at leaders and managers, obviously. Okay, anybody who leads a team, is a manager of a team, maybe a team manager or a team leader, any of those kind of roles. But secondly, this is not just for the leader. This is for the team player as well. Anybody who is an individual contributor, a team player, but in an environment that is multidimensional, there's relationships involved and there's levels of teaming, you can actually learn this skill and you can bring it in. And so one of the courses I deliver the most at the moment is something called Leading in a Virtual Team. And what's fascinating about where we've gone with that is that we invite people who are not team leaders to attend the training. And this is not the usual thing of, well, in the hope they'll become team leaders. This is actually because they can influence within a team. And here's the kicker. The really highest functional teams and families share leadership. There isn't only one person who's leading. And so even if you're not the overall leader of a team, you can still be the one who is adding all sorts of incredible value because you can be sharing leadership. So you can literally go, hang on, I've got a suggestion here. Could we try this? And that's where it comes in. And then finally, of course, parents and partners. If you're in some kind of if you're married, or you're a parent, or you're in a partnership, maybe a business partnership, all of these things are going to thrive on functional conflict, positive functional conflict. So that's where we're saying that's who is it for, and so the next question, of course, that then comes up is when. When do we need it? And I would say there's two really critical signs to be aware of that could tell you, oh, we have a problem. We are not in a place of functional conflict. So over and above all the whys I've just mentioned, here's two things that you may want to look out for. The first is when you notice patterns of dysfunctional behavior. Patterns of dysfunctional behavior. So, for example, if you notice that every time you reach a certain point, there is a breakdown. There is somebody who's feeling left out. There is kind of just the end of a conversation. Just a pattern of dysfunctional behavior would be a really interesting reason to go, oh, hang on, we are not operating in functional conflict. And the second one is, in fact, that when not all the voices are being or feeling heard. So we really want to hone in on when is the behavior dysfunctional and when are there voices that are not being heard. And this happens even in families where you've got a family, gathering, you've got a decision, you've maybe got a discussion that you want to have. Maybe it's about a holiday, maybe it's about chores, whatever it might be. Maybe this is a team meeting, and you realize that not everybody's feeling heard. Not everybody's voice has been heard. And so this is now limiting the system because we haven't got the voices heard in the system. And that's why paying attention is so important. So, yeah, when do we need it? Dysfunctional behavior, or when the voices aren't being heard, or the people aren't feeling heard. We all know what it's like when somebody really, really gets you and you go, oh, it's such a relief. We want that in our teams, that everybody's voice is heard. Okay, so let's get on to the how. So, how do we leverage functional conflict? And I'm going to go through some really simple and practical things here. So, the first I want to introduce you to is the football rule or soccer rule. Now, I know some people present are not big fans of soccer, but it's a kind of thing that really makes sense. And because it's such a universal sport, I often talk about this when I'm working with teams and their leaders. And so the football rule is this. If there's somebody coming, they're attacking, they've got the ball and they're attacking, and you want to tackle them as a defender, you are not allowed to tackle the person, you've got to tackle the ball. Okay, and so the football rule is a rule where we focus on the issue and not the person. When we attack the person, that is dysfunctional conflict. When we deal with the issue and bring all of the focus onto the issue, that is functional and positive conflict. So it's a really big one. And what I do with a lot of the teams that I work with is, where they are struggling with this, is we actually go, this is going to be a rule for us as a team. Does everybody agree we can hold each other accountable around this? And then the moment something gets personal in a conflict, as opposed to the issue being faced, then we can kind of put our hands up and say, hang on, but we've agreed we're going to focus on issues, not the person, not the personalities. And so that's number one, is the football rule. Secondly, and this one's going to surprise so many of you, is about shifting the focus. Because in a team or family conflict, very often we've had this thing drilled into us for years and years and years. Don't bring me problems, bring me solutions. And I want to tell you, in the sphere of functional and dysfunctional conflict, it's one of the problems. Because what happens is people get attached to their solution, and they cannot even tell you what their concern is behind their solution. And so we want to shift the focus to what's the concern. So let me give you an example. You've got two people on a team, and the first one is saying, we have to do X. And the other one is saying, no, 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 we have to do Y. And we go, whoa, 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 let's pull this back. You say X is what we need to do. What is the reason? What's the issue that you're trying to address? Let's just go back a step. Let's forget the solution for a moment. Let's get to the issue. You've spotted an issue. What's that issue? Then the other person, oh, it's got to be Y. It's got to be Y. Hang on. Let's just abandon Y for a moment. You are saying this for a reason. What's the issue? What's the reason? Okay? And then you'll go and the one will say, oh, because it's the only way we'll be profitable. And the other one will say, but it's the only way we will keep clients. And we go, hang on, both of those issues sound really important. Let's not choose a solution that's either or. Now, as a team, where can we go? And so we want to bring in that. So the second skill here is shifting the focus. The third skill of leveraging conflict is to listen to the what and the why of each person's concern. So we want to find out what is driving you saying this and why is that important. And we get that from everybody. Now we've got a whole richness of information that can feed into team problem solving. And that's what we want to focus in on. And so now the fourth step is we want to invite. So we've got the football rule, we've got focus, we've got listening. Now we want to invite. And what we want to invite is everybody to bring creative ideas and solutions because we're actually all on the same side. We all agree that we want these concerns to be addressed. And so let's, as a team, come up with a team solution that addresses these issues, that comes up with what we really want to do. And this is where I've seen things amazing happen. And I want to just quickly add in. So let's say, for example, there are two people, and the one is saying we have to do this, and the other one is saying we have to do this. And of course, over here, it is a lose-win. A lose-lose over here, a lose-win over here. Over here, we've got a win-lose. Somewhere in the middle, we've got this horrible thing called a compromise. I want to tell you, compromise is bad teamwork in 95% of cases. Every now and then a compromise is a useful thing, but I would say it's suboptimal teamwork. It's where literally both people have backed down from the argument and they're now kind of trying to just find something in the middle. So what I'm talking about is something right in this corner, and what we're talking about there is where the solution is better than either of the problems and either of the previous solutions. And so that's what we're looking for, is when we get to the real issues, we'll be able to get there. So that's why we invite the creative ideas, the solutions, we brainstorm them, and we can get there. And by the way, this can happen in families. Now, sometimes in a family, it ends up in a compromise. I mean, I remember a scenario with my children where, I said, well, let's get everybody's opinion, and three of us, including the parents and the one child, wanted to do A, and the other child wanted to do B. And it was like, you know what, we're in agreement. I understand this is not going to be your what you wanted, the person who wanted B, but it is the majority, so we're going to go with that. And they understand and they feel heard. And I think that's really, really important. And then the final step, the fifth step, is review. Review what went well in this discussion. Did we hear all the voices? What would we do differently next time? Is there something we could have done better? And what have we learned from this process that we can leverage next time we have a difference of opinion within the team? So that takes us through that. Let me quickly revise very quickly. We do the football rule. We focus on the issue. We shift the focus from the solution to the concerns, from the solutions to the concerns. We listen to the what and why of each of the concerns. And then we get creative. We invite creativity, and finally we review. Very, very simple process. So, not rocket science, but very interesting how seldom I see this working and happening. It does take some courageous leadership to get there. So I'm going to therefore share another poll, very similar to the last one, still on AHA slides. So if you just go back to your phone, you should find it there. And what we're going to do this time is I'm going to ask you, let's build a bit of a word cloud. Which words or phrases really stood out for you in terms of everything we've looked at here? We looked at the what, we looked at the why, we looked at the who, we looked at the when, and then we looked at the how. So any words or phrases that stood out for you, let's build a bit of a word cloud around functional conflict. I wonder if I can add one in. Oh, those are good ones so far. Feeling heard and that compromise sucks. Love it. Thank you very much. Let's get some more. The issue, not the person. It's healthy. The football rule. Okay, cool. Nice one. Let's see if I can add some in here. You can put multiples in, so you can use some of the ones that are up here. You can put again. Okay, got a few more coming in. Feeling heard has got bigger. Compromise sucks has also got bigger. Healthy. Win-win. Issue, not person. Anybody else want to add anything in? Or reinforce any of the existing words? Creativity and innovation have been growing. Win-win. Issue, not person. People get attached. Oh, that is such an important point. I'm not sure who put that in there, but brilliant. We get so attached to our solution that we can't actually empower the team because, Ken Blanchard has this wonderful saying. He says, no one of us is as intelligent as all of us. No one of us is as intelligent as all of us. And that's where that we get so attached to our thing that, in fact, the real value is we spotted a problem, not necessarily that our solution is the only one we can look at. Wow, this looks really good. Cindy, I think we should add this to the handout. What do you think?
That's a good idea, Ian.
Very cool. Okay, thank you, everybody. So I'm going to stop the share. Oh, another one came through now. Yeah, this compromise sucks is right in the middle. I love that. I love that. I am so anti-compromise. Look, there are times you've got to do it, but I would say 9 times out of 10, it's actually not a clever idea at all. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Let me stop the share and come back and take questions. We have 5 minutes to go, so let's have some Q&A.